Matt, great to have you here today with Chris. And thank you for coming in and talking about the topic that we're going to talk about, which is online gambling.
Thanks for having me.
And sports betting. Thank you. So a couple facts first. A Siena poll on the percentage of adults that have at least one sports book is 22% of all adults. If you break that down to men, it's 18 to 49. It's almost 50%. I was so impressed with you when we went to Hingham High School.
Thank you.
And you were at Herren Wellness, and we asked if you wanted to come and speak to the students. And the amount of interest and actually surprise in what you had to say about why you were at Herren Wellness was pretty impressive.
I love that we're here. It's pretty remarkable that you're willing to share this and the impact you can have on so many people. The landscape is different today. And, the landscape is very different, especially for young adults. And what we've noticed over the last year, 9 months, the impact that gambling's having on young adult males. So the fact that you're willing to speak about it openly and share your message, your story, it's incredible. So thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys having me on. I think the legalization definitely changed the game. For me, I started really when I was like 17. So the legalization didn't affect a guy like me. Like I was always going to become a degenerate gambler. But I've seen friends of mine, people just hanging out with that were not gamblers. It got legalized. It became incredibly easy to just put your debit card into FanDuel, DraftKings, MGM, whatever one you wanted. And, now they're placing bets all the time versus 2 years ago. It was probably me and one other person that I was hanging out with that was placing bets for sure.
And I think and there's no data because of that. I was at a gambling conference and they didn't have data on the sports betting yet, on the online gambling, because it's been only 2 years. So they're starting to gather data on the harmful effects and the risk, and with people like you sharing your story, I think it's like the obligation of prevention is part of the message here today too. So you placed your first bet when you were how old? Like so many?
14 probably. 14. It was the Patriots Seahawks Super Bowl at Brandon LaFell.
With your dad?
Yeah, he would give me $100 to bet on the Super Bowl, and I was like, this is unbelievable. Like this is the greatest thing. And I had Brandon LaFell to score a touchdown. It was 7-1. I was so excited. I called him. It's like this is unbelievable. It was like I hit a game winner. Like watching the Patriots win the Super Bowl. I called him. I was asking if I could make more bets right away. He said no. And that kind of, was on and off because I'm a 14-year-old. I don't have a lot of money and I can't bet on my own. Like it's illegal. I think when I was 16 or 17 for my birthday, I asked my dad to make me a sports gambling account. And I got $25 or something like that. I lost it immediately. But the card was still hooked up to the thing, so I kept making deposits until they were like, what are you doing? And they cut me off. And then I would find ways to do it, either like Bovada or one of these offshore sites that you could somehow make an account before you were 18. And then once I turned 18, I made my own, would gamble, but was still like a high school senior. I had a girlfriend, I was playing basketball, I had other stuff to do. And then once I got to college, I was going to play basketball. Got there and I was, somewhat disappointed. I was like, this is it. This is Division III basketball. I've worked very hard to get here. I thought I was a really good player. And this is almost worse than high school. There's no one in the stands. The gym kind of sucks. So I got hurt and I decided, I'm done. And I had all this money I'd saved up over the summer that's supposed to last me my first year of college. And I have all this free time now. I don't have basketball practice in college. Your classes are scattered. And I hit the ground running, gambling. And it's like, wow, I can, get this rush from a basketball game. I don't have to wait once or twice a week. I can do it at 11 o'clock laying in my bed. I don't even have to do anything.
Mm.
And I, gambled all that semester. I lost money pretty quickly, honestly. I lost like $5,000-$6,000 in less than a month, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
And that was kind of my college experience, bouncing around from colleges, gambling all my money away quickly as soon as I left home, then having to call mom and dad, help me bail me out.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, it's a slow progression. It's the progression of like mind-altering thing.
100%.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting how this all kind of works its way out. I remember I had knee surgery in 8th grade, and I had never taken narcotics, and I felt like Superman. I mean, I felt so good. I was a little 8th grade boy, had a knee meniscus tear. But I just remember at home that night, the music was on, I got my crutches, but I'm like, I'm in heaven. Like this, and I look back and my parents, I would think would just like, what is going on, right? Like this is what
The feeling.
this is what's coming, because he talked about the Patriots and the Seahawks like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
Like
Right,
he
yes.
still has that very close.
Yeah. And that's the
She
I
shows
think
you the wiring.
yeah, it's the wiring. It's the dopamine rush.
It's relentless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
Absolutely.
both relentless.
Yeah.
Like whether it's alcohol, whether it's opiates, whether it's marijuana, if we have a great experience and we want to do it again and it's more, we're all going to end up in recovery, hopefully.
You only
hopefully.
You only remember the good times. Like I can
Yes.
tell you about my greatest wins. But for every 10 greatest wins, there's 100 just demoralizing losses. But it's those wins that keep you going, that keep digging. Like I'm sure it's the same with drug use. It's like the first time you get high, you're just chasing that original one, that first big bet.
And they say
I've been
though,
chasing.
they say that the brain, the way it responds to losing, the dopamine fires more than when you win gambling. So it's almost like you get more of a
Wow.
rush or a high off
Right.
a loss rather
Right.
than a win.
Like a reaction.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, to think, I to think of that losing like fires your dopamine so intensely, that you continue. You almost get addicted to the loss in a sense. Hearing you talk about the Seattle Seahawks, New England Patriots, and Brandon LaFell,
Yeah.
you could probably give a play-by-play to that game.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure. And I think that like Chris said in the beginning, over the past year, maybe two, we've seen gambling. We've gotten more calls about that.
Yeah.
And it's there hasn't been, there's Gamblers Anonymous.
Yep.
There aren't a lot of treatment facilities specific to gambling. And so the questions we got and what we looked at was, if we can do something unique and we can provide an environment that is going to be safe and not have you at risk and treat this as separate but the same, like, can we provide the same experience at Herren Wellness that we do for people that come in with anxiety or depression or substance use? So when you got to Herren, like, I remember talking to your parents on the phone, and what was your experience at Herren when you got there, being in this unique position in the community of I gamble.
Yeah.
I struggle with that.
Even before, before I came to Herren, it was about a week before we had kind of made the decision. Me and my parents, like, this is like, this can't continue. So we're going to try and find somewhere to go. And I was just writing down a list of places I'm finding online, and I'm calling them, and they're like, "We don't do that. Like, what are you talking about?" They like someone literally said, "Gambling? What do you mean?" And then I think you were the only place that said yes, and I'm very lucky for that. So I got to Herren. Yeah, it was almost when I got there, it was a weight off my shoulders because for the past 6 months leading up to that, it felt like the world was closing in on me. You know, I'm stealing money, which I'm ashamed to admit. I'm borrowing money. You know, at one point I'm just thinking, when is the other shoe going to drop? You know what I mean? So I finally get there. Everything's out in the open with my family, which was like, I was like, oh, thank goodness. But it was a little different, you know, when I think it's at Alumni, they say, if you haven't had a drink or a drug today, you know, give yourself a round of applause.
Sure.
And for me, like, that's not,
Right.
I'm like, yeah, I haven't. It's Wednesday.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course I haven't. But it was different, but I think I was able to find so many parallels between the drugs and the alcohol and the gambling.
Of course.
Right? We're all hiding things. We're all thinking the same way. Like I needed money to gamble. People need money for drugs, or they just need drugs or alcohol, whatever it is. You know, I needed to gamble, and I was going to do anything I could to continue gambling. It really didn't matter. You know, I got there. It was helpful to not have a phone for a month. Like, just to get that completely out of my way.
We did a few things that were different.
Yeah.
We said, let's take the phone away so that because that's
That's
almost
the drug
like somebody
right there.
comes in and we're like, want a drink?
Yeah.
You know, we'll give you this from 4 to 6. So, and the people that have come in to Herren that are struggling with gambling, we say, we're going to have your phone. We're going to take your phone. We check the smart TV. We put these things in place, and not one person has said, oh, I really want my phone. So I think that being open to the little bit of the process that's different, because for most of our guests, people do have access to their phones a couple hours a day. So right away, just very impressive, your openness and being able to see the similarities of, you know, Chris I reference a lot. One of my favorite sayings from you is, struggle is struggle. It doesn't matter what it is. We don't feel good. We're not being healthy, and we need to be in a place where we have time and space to kind of implement change. So I'm glad that you felt comfortable fairly quickly. I think there is an online resource that we can sign people up so that you kind of get flagged if you've struggled with gambling.
Self-exclusion.
Is that what that is?
Yeah, you can exclude yourself. It's definitely casinos in Massachusetts, and I think a lot of the casinos are linked to the sports books, so it kind of excludes yourself from certain sports books for 5 years.
Yep.
And then I think the ones that aren't connected to a casino, that I know that I sat down and did it with a staff member, we excluded myself from those ones as well.
Yep.
But that's definitely a huge help in terms of, you know, the legalized gambling on your phone in the apps is so fast, and it's right in your face. So that is self-exclusion was huge for me. But there are still, believe me, there's many other ways to gamble that are almost just as fast that I think you have to, you know, be aware of, right? Like self-exclusion, it helps. Believe me, it takes a weight off my shoulders. But if I wanted to, I could place a bet in 2 minutes.
Right.
And self-exclusion, I mean, it was extremely helpful a decade ago.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But now it's so challenging.
Yeah. The access is, I mean, it's more access than having to go out and buy liquor.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to
do anything.
Well, you can do DoorDash, I guess, or whatever that's called for the liquor, but it is. And I remember, you know, we're a community that will watch games together at Herren, and in the group room, you know, we're going to watch a game, and realizing that at the bottom of the screen is like what the
spread,
what's it called? The spreads are, and then asking like, are you okay with this? Or playing cards in the dining room. Like, Matt, are you, Matt, how does this work for you? And checking in with people on that. And
I think it depends, like for the sports, it's inevitable. Like, it's just in your face. It's just the reality. If you want to watch any sporting event, the gambling lines will be in your face. So you have to make that decision like maybe some people just can't ever watch sports again, which I've heard some people say in GA meetings, and that's fine. That's difficult for me because I love sports. Like that's what
Right,
my
yeah.
my social life was founded on.
Yep.
So it's difficult. Like I've spoken about this recently. Like football season is coming up. Like this time of year, a year ago, 2 years ago, I would be so excited. Like this was like Christmas. This is like, oh my God, there's so much college football on. I'm gonna gamble on so much of it, and in my mind, I'm gonna make so much money. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be wonderful. And now it's completely different. I'm almost dreading it. I'm like, summer, please stay. Right? I don't want to.
That season coming up.
I don't want to sit there and watch college football for 11 hours straight like I used to.
Right.
Like I don't. Right? Like me a year ago, I'd be getting drunk and watching college football and gambling on it nonstop. This year, I'm sober. I don't want to do that. But I still want some of it. Like I still would like to watch a big game.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Will you?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But it's all about how I feel.
Yeah.
Like if I'm like, this is too much and I got to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Um,
Let me ask you this. What was the most, going through this process, what was most helpful in the beginning?
not having the phone, no question. You
Really?
have to take the phone away.
Yeah.
Because when I got it back, I had to manually, right, you go on social media and like it's like your algorithm. My algorithm was gambling. Like it's gambling. So
Did you do it with a staff person?
No.
That's terrifying, though. Terrifying that the phone is your biggest trigger,
Right.
and you can't live without it.
Right.
You know?
No.
Yeah.
It was like I got it back and I was like, oh my God.
That's like
it's
telling
right
an
there.
alcoholic to walk around with a pint of vodka
Exactly.
in his pocket. all
Right.
day long.
No, right.
And I had been
Do you
getting,
know?
Exactly.
And I had been getting paid for a month, and I'm at Herren. That's money's just been stacking up. So I'm like, I have more money now.
Of course.
and it's
Yeah.
there. So that was the number one thing is the phone. I think that can eliminate a lot, and then it's your environment. to
Yes.
some aspects too.
Yep.
I know you mentioned cards. I think that depends on the person. I never really played cards for money. And if there's no money involved in cards, then how is it gambling? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it's just a
Yeah.
game.
Yeah, of
Yep.
So
course.
you could think about it like playing someone in like one-on-one basketball.
Sure.
Like you get that same feeling from winning a card game if there's no money involved.
That's
but
right.
if there's money involved, right, then it is gambling.
It's a yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it just depends on the person.
Very-
I'd say for someone who's like played a ton of poker or goes to the casino like every week and plays blackjack, then maybe take the cards out of your hand for an extended period of time. But for me, that just wasn't what I was doing.
And the sports betting, because it is so available. I mean, my kids and their friends, they bet on everything, and it's become such a part of the young adult culture. And it's really scary to hear like someone's up, someone's down $2,000 or something like that. They're 22 years old, and so the prevention side of it is, and speaking at schools and things like that, I think is going to be. I think it's going to be super important and critical. And you were so open about telling your story, and I don't know that there's a lot of people out there that are telling their story on the sports betting because it's very different than going to a casino.
Yeah.
That's been the world of Gamblers Anonymous, going to a casino. Now needs to be an incredible shift in how we're going to treat and care for and help this phase of the gambling, which is going to be an epidemic.
I think you'll see that shift is coming. So I go to this meeting on Friday nights, and I'm the youngest person there by far, and it's a lot of these old timers, and I can relate so much to the struggle of doing anything to get money and the actions that they took. Like I've done the same thing, but they're talking about scratch tickets, the horse track, dog tracks, which are illegal now anyway. So in that sense, it's different, and that's, I think in a year or two you'll see the people that are sports gambling on their phones. I think that will somewhat dominate the GA.
Yeah.
And I've never been to a dog track. Like, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And I remember, the same thing applied to me. When I first started going to AA meet, there was only a couple of us
That's right.
that were struggling with heroin.
Yep.
So you kind of felt like you were on the outside a little bit. And then, today, 17 years later, it's so much different, and it's going to have to shift.
Yeah.
I mean, the scary thing for me is how do we manage what's in their hand, the phone? If that's the trigger, how do you get through this process in recovery with it in your hand?
With it in your hand. It is a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week show of strength. I think it's, it's, by the time people leave Herren, whether they're there, if you had the gift of being able to be there for a few months and kind of establishing all these new habits and being around people. And you also were very open to going to other meetings. You wouldn't say that you are addicted to any other substances, but you were very, very open to it's a drink or a substitute.
Yeah.
And that I think at one point you also recognized that when you did gamble, you were under the influence of something like maybe alcohol or marijuana or something like that.
Alcohol.
So alcohol.
Yeah.
So kind of connecting that, putting that in my body is going to make me more susceptible to placing a bet.
Absolutely.
But it's this idea of like, I feel so much better this way. I don't have, it's like, can it be early recovery? Like for anything, that I like the way I feel. I like how I'm living my life. I don't have guilt. I don't have shame. I'm not hurting my family. Was that sort of like building that kind of foundation of emotional, like integrity and strength that helps you on a daily basis?
Yeah, I think so. Like I put my family through a lot. Like my mother wanted me to go somewhere like 4 years ago. Now, I don't think that would have helped because I would have done it for 30 days and be like, get me out. And I would have just started again. Like at this point, like I was ready to be done too. I was like, I just can't do this anymore. The alcohol is interesting. I fought that for a while at Herren. I was like, I don't understand. This makes no sense to me. Why would I stop? Like I'm not an alcoholic. And as I went through this, I stayed for 5 months. I got close with a lot of people and I still hang out with them like all the time.
Yeah,
and that's a great thing.
Yeah.
For me, like I still get triggers about gambling. I'll look at something and it's almost like it's just like it triggers something in mine. It's like, a bet would be great right now. And I imagine that same thing happened to me, but I'm drunk. And now I'm like, maybe I really should. And that's where it goes. I've also, I've gotten a lot healthier. I don't have shame. My family can trust me now. You know what I mean? Like that's
Feels good.
so I think eliminating alcohol from the picture in those senses was a positive. And I never regret not drinking. I never wake up in the morning like, fuck, I wish I don't drink. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at some point it is difficult. You see people around you like having drinks. You're like, oh, that sounds nice.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, when you wake up the next morning, you never regret not drinking.
That's so true. So true.
And what's amazing, honestly, what was incredible witnessing, at Herren Wellness, we have kind of the luxury of going through this process for, as you said, 5 months. But, I mean, not only did you adjust to, abstaining from alcohol, but like you got in phenomenal shape.
Yeah.
There's been an unbelievable transformation in every facet of your life.
Thank you.
It was incredible to witness.
Yeah.
Now, if you wanted to help, as Lori touched on prevention, how would you go about it?
I think about that sometimes, like if like someone like say just got to Herren or somewhere and asked me. Again, I think getting away from your phone for a little bit is huge. I think understanding you just never you're just gonna lose your money. Like for me, I envisioned myself, and my father used to say this when we would get in these arguments about gambling and money. Like he's like, I go to these places and I see this old men from high school sitting on the same bar stool, betting on the same games with no money. Someone lives above a bar. You know what I mean? Like that's where I pictured myself going, is like, I will never be able to do anything because this is all I'll do.
What we're seeing is, the amount of increase in families reaching out to help loved ones and with gambling attached or part of their story. You know, obviously we're not gambling specific, right, at Herren Wellness, but what we're proud of is holding the phone, controlling the streaming, the TVs, offering up, you know, GA and sitting in groups and like you said, I mean, you would have never thought the relationships you have today would be there before you walked into Herren Wellness.
No.
You know what I mean?
I told people I was going to do 28 days.
Yeah.
I was out.
And-
I was going to go drink with my friends again.
Yeah. And
No question.
5 months and relationships that will last a lifetime.
Yeah.
So to be able to provide that level of support initially and hopefully structure some community around where you can identify and be part of, I mean, it's just been incredible to watch you open yourself up to that.
No, the community has been, I think, one of the biggest things. And maybe that is what I would tell a new gambler. Like if I had left even after 5 months and I'm on my own, right, I don't have something to fall back on, these people that I can talk to and socialize with almost on a daily basis. You know, I would just be back in the same environment I was before. And who knows how that goes. You know what I mean?
What is it like with your friends, like you went to high school or college with? Like, what's your social life? I know it's, you know, the community at Herren and alumni and other things. What's it been like for your friends to watch you go through this process?
It's been interesting. They support me fully. Like, so I went to Nantucket this weekend at my friend's house. And I'm around people who are drinking. But they're like, if you, whatever you have to do, that's what you got to do. And I definitely, you know, before I came, I definitely was spearheading the gambling, but people around me were gambling as well. Don't get me wrong. And those conversations, since I've been back, are like next to none. Now they still talk about, I got this bet or that bet, but like the whole day, I'd be like, what do we got? What do we got? What are we doing, boys?
Right.
Now it's different, right? Like we go out, like I get to drive, and I can dip
It's
whenever I
peaceful.
want, right? I'm
Yeah,
like,
it's
I'm done.
peace.
I'm done with this.
Yeah.
I showed face. I made an appearance.
Yeah.
I'm going back.
Yep.
So
Freedom.
Yeah.
Control and freedom. There's so much like positive control in being able to make, you know, choose.
You know, I couldn't imagine someone saying to me, get sober with a half pint of vodka in your pocket, you know? So what you have been able to do and what you're continuously overcoming is remarkable.
Thank you. I
And-
appreciate that.
Yeah. And, you know, we've been, you know, you said you came for gambling, but you came for you and you got the best you and you dug that out. And that's what's so inspiring to me, is that you focused on all of it and you went after it. So thank you.
Yeah, we
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Yeah.